All right. Well, hi, hello, and welcome to your SecOps Unified. Today's webinar is sponsored by Palo Alto Networks and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Jess Steinbach. I'm with Actual Tech Media, a future B2B company, and I'm so happy that I get to be your moderator for this conversation because today I am coming along for the ride as we tour an absolutely incredible lineup of speakers, experts, and thought leaders. So think about this as one of those, Disney or Universal rides, right? So we strap into like a little car and then the whole car picks up and it shifts. And before you know it, you are deep in the jungle running from dinosaurs, or you shift again and you're in the Wild West. Now you're running with a herd of cattle. We're doing a lot of running in this ride. I've no running in this webinar, I promise. So in this case, our little roller coaster car is going to pick up and zip between rooms filled not with dinosaurs or herds of cattle, but with incredible experts who are going to help us and to understand a little bit more about Palo Alto Networks and about SOC transformation. We have so much in store for us. This is going to be an absolutely wild ride. I promise that there is no water feature at the end of this ride. There is no flash photography, but there will be a whole lot of great insights, interesting takeaways. So definitely buckle in and get ready for some excitement. Now, before we take off, we're going to go through a few important housekeeping points that are going to help you get the most out of our time here together today. So let's take our little tour of your audience console. We're going to start out in the questions window. Now, this is the best place to get involved, get interactive, to post all of those wonderful questions, the comments, the feedback, your ideas. I want to hear all of your interesting, I'm looking, I got distracted. Howdy, aloha, hola, and bonjour. That's definitely our most international greeting of the day. I love that. Well done. I also see lots of highs and hellos coming from all of you. I hope that you all had wonderful long weekends if you got to take a little bit of extra time off. And I would love to hear what you're doing with your Thanksgiving leftovers. Let me know if anyone has any great ideas. We want to hear from you. Now, we also want your interesting questions, your feedback, and your thoughts as we go through our conversation today. So make sure you're getting those in to our questions window there. If you've got any technical issues today, now hopefully this doesn't come up, but if there's something that gets in the system, a little slide isn't working or audio drops out at any point, no problem. The first thing you're going to try is a browser refresh. I promise you a browser refresh is going to clear out most of the usual tech gremlins. But if something is really clinging on today, no problem. Obviously, all the gremlins have been fed after midnight because we had plates and plates of food lying around. So if those gremlins are a little supercharged today, no problem. The browser refresh doesn't work. You're going to post in the questions window. Let us know. And Arena and I are here with you today, and we will help you out with whatever you need. All right. Yes to leftovers. I see that. Amazing. You're eating them. Great. Any fun ideas for fun ways to eat them? I heard quesadillas recently. Turkey quesadillas, leftover turkey quesadillas. I don't know how I feel about that. You guys let me know. Test run it for me. All right. The last thing I want to point out is your handouts tab. Make sure you spend some time in that handouts tab. There are lots of great resources and takeaways there for you. You want to make sure that you've got all of those downloaded. Hold on to those and make sure you've got them after we wrap up our conversation, because I promise you will want to dig in a little bit further. You will want to explore Palo Alto Networks a little bit further, and this is your starting point. So make sure you've got those resources. Now, it's not just awesome content that we are giving away today at the webinar. We also have a $250 Amazon gift card as a prize drawing that we will get to as we wrap up our webinar. So stay tuned for that. Now, of course, you do need to be here in live attendance in order to qualify to win that prize, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. But if you don't have those memorized, no problem. I have those T's and C's listed for you right there in the handouts tab. So if you go back to the handouts tab we were just chatting about, click and scroll down to the bottom and you will find the full terms and conditions waiting for you there. All right. Well, we are about to jump in and introduce our speakers. Now, I have to tell you, we have so many incredible expert presenters here with us at our session today that we have 2 full slides of presenters. So, like I said, this is a roller coaster ride. Get ready. Okay. So, starting out today, kicking off our rock star crew, we have Lee Klarich, Chief Product Officer, Palo Alto Networks. Also, Yvonne Lee, Product Marketing Manager, Palo Alto Networks. Kevin Kin, Vice President of Cortex Systems Engineering, Palo Alto Networks. Or Cohen, Senior Director of Technical Marketing Engineering at Palo Alto Networks. Now, I'm going to move us into slide number 2, and we will also be chatting here with Matthew Schreiner, Global Threat Management Partner and Portfolio Leader, IBM. Christopher Collard, Program Director for QRadar Cloud, IBM. And Joseph Blankenship, Vice President and Research Director at Forrester Research research, right? Come on, that is an absolute rock star lineup. That is the definition of a superstar crew, and we get to chat with all of them. I don't know about you all, but I am definitely psyched and ready to embark on this wild ride of all things SecOps. So let's kick things off. Let's get rolling.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lee Klarich, Chief Product Officer for Palo Alto Networks. In May, Palo Alto Networks and IBM announced a strategic partnership to deliver AI-powered security solutions to all of our customers. I am very excited about this. It includes many different components, including, first and foremost, accelerating the transition to an AI-driven SOC with Cortex-X SIEM, and second, IBM becoming a preferred partner, focusing on security consulting services and driving platform adoption. I'm really hoping all of you are excited to go through a SOC transformation with us. We understand change can be difficult at times, but the benefits are extraordinary, as we'll talk about soon. And we're committed to making this as smooth and seamless as possible. We're looking forward to achieving great security outcomes together, but before we get into that, let's start by sharing a little bit about ourselves. Many people know Palo Alto Networks from where we started, and I was here. I remember what it was like. We're very focused on network security transformation, reimagining how network security be done in the form of a next generation firewall. Over the years, we have driven a number of amazing innovations across the industry in network security, and then over the last 6 or 7 years, driving incredible innovations in cloud security with Code to Cloud and our AI-driven security operations platform. And across all these innovations, we've been leveraging the threat intelligence and cyber security consulting from Unit 42 in order to tie all of these together and constantly make them better based on what we're seeing from a security landscape perspective. Now, today, we're here to talk about security operations and why we believe there has to be a transformation. There has to be a completely new way to do it. And if you look at this data, I think it becomes very obvious. Just a few years ago, attackers were taking well over a month from start to finish to carry out an attack on average. What this meant is security operations had 43 days on average to detect, investigate, and respond to an attack before the attacker was successful at carrying out their mission. But then this dropped to 30 days in 2022. Then it dropped to 5 days in 2023. And we're now seeing some attacks that are taking only hours from start to finish for the attacker to carry out an attack and do everything they need to do. That is a problem. This means the SOC actually has to now become a near real-time function from a security perspective. So the challenge, of course, is that is not how the tools that the SOC uses were developed. If you think about this, the SOC started with one tool, the SIEM, developed many, many, many years ago. And this was not really designed for today's challenges. This was designed in 1999 when, honestly, many of you had just a handful of security products generating alerts, and the SIEM worked pretty well for this. But then over the years, additional tools cropped up as the SIEM was just not able to keep up with the security needs. EDR, NTA, UEBA, Threat Intel Platform or TIP, SOAR, CDR, all of these sort of exist because the SIEM isn't really designed very well to deal with today's security challenges. And so as attacks have gotten faster, more tools have been developed, but more tools basically just means more alerts. And so the SOC is spent trying to figure out how to deduplicate, integrate, stitch all of this data manually. Net result, mean time to remediation averaging 2 to 3 days. Well, that doesn't work. If attacks are now, in some cases, taking hours, but it takes multiple days to remediate threats. So we looked at this problem and we realized this is not a time for incremental change. This is a time to actually transform, to start from the ground up and rethink how to build the right tech stack to solve this problem. And there's a lot that went into this, but I'll boil it down to 3 things. 1, data. What you'll notice from that previous sort of all these different tools is they're all ingesting data into their own data silos. the future SOC has to ingest all of the data, stitch and normalize it in one place. Second, when we take that data, we have to run analytics against the stitched data as opposed to running analytics against data silos. So that's why this importance of data stitching becomes so important, because then we run our analytics, which includes a significant amount of AI, machine learning, other things like that allow us to detect threats not only based on past knowledge, but also based on behavior and future anticipating what attackers are going to do. It's based on a full visibility into what's happening in the enterprise. Third, automation needs to be natively integrated into the platform. This allows us to adopt and leverage automation at every stage of security operations. So we did that. We did that, and we launched Cortex XSIAM, our AI-driven SOC solution. And what this does is it leverages data, AI, and automation at the foundation in order to reimagine all of the capabilities in the SOC as integrated capabilities of one solution. SIEM, EDR, NDR, SOAR, CDR, all of these become foundational elements to how the SOC works, with ITDR, Threat Intel Platform, Attack Surface Management, and other future modules being optional integrated capabilities as well. This is driving incredible outcomes for our customers. And you'll see at the bottom just some of the technology behind this. 7.5 petabytes per day of data being ingested, 5,000 plus detection models running natively in the solution, plus any customizations that you bring through your own custom rules, as well as bring your own machine learning. 1,000 plus default automations natively in the product, again, customizable by you. And all of that is driving incredible outcomes. What you're seeing are the before XSIAM. Not enough data, most incidents being ignored, and a mean time remediation in 4 days. What we have seen as customers have adopted XSIAM is they ingest more data, which is incredibly important because data drives AI. Based on that AI and automation, 100% close rate of incidents, and leveraging AI and automation, an MTTR of 14 minutes to 2 hours. That before and after is absolutely incredible. Further, what we've seen in some of our largest customers is not only were they able to achieve those outcomes in basically the first couple of weeks of activating XSIAM, but over time they were able to go not only from days down to hours, but then from hours down to less than 10 minutes median time to remediation. And these are companies like what you see here. Global logistics leader with over 300,000 employees, operates in over 150 different countries. A Fortune 50 retailer with over 2,000 stores that has completely reimagined how their security operations work. A global IT services company with over 300,000 employees. Same thing, they replaced 8 tools in their SOC with one integrated solution in XSIAM. These are incredible results that we're seeing with our customers. And that is what I hope all of you will join us on in this journey of the SOC transformation. And so what you're about to see are some of the experts from Palo Alto Networks and the industry and our partner to walk you through more details on XSIAM and what we're able to bring from a consultative perspective to help you in this journey. And I'll be back at the end with some closing remarks to kick off the next, hopefully the next phase in your journey in security operations.
We've been really assembling over the years, like most enterprises around the globe, best of breed technology, product-based type of technology for cybersecurity, requiring a lot of effort, IT integration, quote unquote, for cybersecurity, and high cost to maintain and sustain in the long run. So we've been looking over the recent years as the cyber industry is starting consolidating for opportunity to find the right platform integrated to deliver better service and lower our cost of ownership within SLB. It's us able to leverage the latest capabilities integrated stack from Palo Alto Network while also providing our input to Palo Alto product roadmap to deliver capabilities that are more performant and more adapted to the energy industry. Leveraging a platform really allows us to keep our expert focus on what we want them to focus on, basically proactive training and protection of SLB, as well as responding in case of an event, and not working into the IT integration world.
Hello everyone. Thanks again for being with us today. My name is Or Cohen and I will walk you through a demo of Cortex XIM. Before we dive into the demo, I do want to take a second and talk about what makes XIM so unique and so exciting. Lee pointed out that XIM does so many different things. It handles the SIEM, the EDR, the CDR, the ITDR, the SOAR, the ASM, the threat intel management, and so many different other capabilities. I want to be absolutely clear. This is all done in a single product. And when I say single product, I mean single data pipeline, single backend, single frontend, and single workflow. If you think about this, delivering all of these different capabilities in this way reduces training and learning time, reduces management overhead, and improves communications between the different teams because everyone is looking at the same system, talking in the same taxonomy, and achieving the same outcomes, all in one place. The other thing that makes XIM so exciting is we use precision AI to automate the blast radius and provide response recommendations. This is a huge step forward. I have done a lot of incident response in my life, and I know that understanding which alerts are tied to which alert and understanding what's the scope, who's affected, what's the root cause, what's the damage, and what to do about it can take sometimes hours, days, or even weeks, depending on the type of incident you're looking at. We do this automatically. And that means humans and the SOC analysts don't have to do this manually. They can focus on decision making, they can focus on hunting, and they can focus on things that machines cannot do. But this is something that XIM delivers with absolutely amazing success, and that is one of the main reasons why our numbers for MTTD and MTTR look so good. The next point I want to call out is the ease of onboarding and integration. If you consider all the things that XIM can natively do, all the SOAR capabilities, EDR, ITDR, case management, ASM, threat intel management, and so many other things, these are things typically done in other tools. These are typically things you have to integrate into your SIEM. With XIM, you don't need to do that. It's already there, already working, one workflow in the single system. That means no overhead, it just works. And that's a huge step forward for everyone in the industry. The other thing is, when you do connect to some other source to get data from or run response actions on, cloud providers, identity providers, network devices, it doesn't matter, integration is very easy and straightforward. You connect to the data source in the same flow that you also configure the response actions, the parsers, the dashboards, and anything else you want to do. So that means faster time to value, highly repetitive, and super scalable. The other thing about XIM is we are machine-centric for human augmentation. That means that every single step in the system, every single thing, when we thought about how to achieve that goal, the first question we asked was how can we automate? How can we use precision AI to make the life of an analyst or admin much better and smoother? So everything in the system is designed for machines to process, to understand, and to augment what humans can do and want to achieve. That means that SLAs are much faster and we have a better scale for every single thing, be it administration, incident response, hunting, everything just scales much better because of this approach. Another point I want to call out is we want to be your security partner of choice. That is what Palo Alto wants to give its customers. We want to be your security partner of choice. And that means that if we have 1,000+ researchers in the company and all this knowledge from so many years of doing cybersecurity and every bit of insight that we got, we want to give this to you. This is a partnership. We want you to have the knowledge, not just a system. We don't just want to give you a system in which you can create correlations or dashboards. We want to give you knowledge. And that's why, as Lee pointed out, there are so many playbooks for incident response. There are so many detectors and capabilities that are natively there. We want to give this to you because we are partners in protecting your business. And that really helps if you think about skill shortage, attrition, and the general difficulty of keeping up to date with incident response and so many tasks in such a difficult threat landscape that changes frequently. And last but not least, we focus on actual security values and outcomes. We really want you to be more secure with each passing day. That's what Palo Alto is here to deliver. We want to make each day more secure than the day before. And that means that in the system itself, you can actually make small improvements on a daily basis. Be 1% better every single day. And after working with XIM for 6 months, 8 months, 3 months, you won't even remember where you started. You make incremental improvements that really takes you forward in making you more secure. And that is something that we built across the entire system. There are multiple ways of achieving those things, but we think about how to make each day more secure than the day before, and I'm going to show you this live within the system. So now, after pointing these things out, let's go into the system and see a demo. When you log into XIM, the first thing you see is the XIM Command Center. Here you will be able to see where the data is coming from, how many alerts were generated, and as a result, how many incidents were created. An incident contains multiple alerts combined together because of similarities. Then you will be able to see how many alerts were fully automatically resolved, how many were partially automated, and how many require manual intervention. Everything here is clickable. If you want to understand more about the data coming in, you will be able to see a breakdown of all the data and how it's coming into the system. You will be able to then see how many preventions took place. You will be able to dive in to how alerts are grouped together and the breakdown of manually resolved incidents versus automatically resolved incidents. You can also dive into the automation itself if you want to, and then see exactly who's handling the incidents. You'll be able to see the tactics and techniques associated with them, and much more. Of course, you can also see a summary of all the data, all the incidents, and exactly how many events came in. Now let's talk about how to connect to a data source. So let's say I want to go in and configure a new data source. As you can see, I already have a lot of data sources connected and configured. However, I do want to add another one. So I'll go to Add New Data Source, and the list of available integrations is massive. However, I do want to connect to CyberArk. And now, of course, CyberArk is multiple different offerings, and I want to connect specifically to CyberArk Identity. So I'm going to connect. As you can see, we're asking for basically credentials, the URLs. You have the documentation to help and assist with how to get it done. But the real kicker is the recommended content. When you onboard and connect to the data source, we already give you the data normalization aspect, meaning how do we parse and how do we put this data into our data model called XDM. So you can clearly see exactly how the data is parsed. We also give you correlations and logic to detect attacks based on the data coming from CyberArk, and you can customize this data. And we also give you correspondent playbooks. In the same onboarding flow that you connect to the data source, you're also configuring the parsing, the correlations, and the playbooks. So you can actually see exactly what to do in case, for example, brute force is detected. You already have a playbook to help address this scenario. This is again because we've natively incorporated the SOAR capabilities into the workflow of the SIEM and data onboarding. You only do it once. You also configure the dashboards and reports if you choose to. You can opt out, connect, and that's pretty much it. Now let's take a look at what happens when data is coming in and alerts are triggering and an incident is created. So let's go into incidents. As you can see, we have multiple incidents currently open. However, I'm going to minimize this window so we can focus just on the first one. As you can see, we have a critical incident with a score of 91. The score is being delivered using AI. However, we do explain why. We strongly believe that explainability is absolutely crucial to gain trust in the system, especially as it uses machine learning and AI. And if we say something is 91, we actually expose why we think this is a score. So you can see the explanation here. Why is it anomalous and how is it compared to the environment or other customers as well of Palo Alto and using XIM. In total, we have 34 different alerts grouped together. Grouping is done completely automatically. And if you want to know why, you can go into the timeline. That explains exactly why each alert was added to this incident. Nothing is being hidden. You can see the alert sources, meaning which engine caused the alert to trigger. For example, with using analytics, we saw multiple discovery commands, we saw random looking domains, we have threat intel hits, and you can see where data is coming from. The Cortex XDR agent, which is embedded in the solution, Checkpoint Firewall, Dropbox, MySQL, and more. The other thing you will note is the automation. As I mentioned earlier, SOAR is natively embedded. That means that 8 playbooks already executed, 2 have executed but are waiting for analyst input because some things may be semi-automated, not fully automated, and we have 7 recommendations on how we believe, how Palo Alto believes, this incident can be resolved. We give you the artifacts that we extracted, we give you the assets and users involved, and a full MITRE mapping if you want to take a look at what happened here from a MITRE tactics and techniques perspective. I want to double click into the recommendations. If we say, hey, we saw PowerShell activity or credential gathering, you can actually click it and it will drill down and give you an explanation into what should be done to help mitigate this. We explain exactly why we believe this is the right playbook to execute. You can actually click and dive in, and it will show you exactly what the playbook does, how it will handle the alert in this situation, and what it will do. If you want, you can choose another one. You can configure and customize your own playbooks to your liking, or you can use what we suggest. Another point I want to call out is that we saw in the incident that there is a Cortex XDR agent installed, and it's part of the data sources for this incident. If we go into execution, we will actually be able to see the chain of execution on the relevant machine that exists in this incident. I can expand it and take a closer look. So I will be able to see exactly how the attack played out, who the relevant processes are, what exactly happened. I will be able to see all of the base events, all of the raw events, all of the registry changes, network connections, etc., that happened here. I will be able to see forensic highlights and basically investigate this incident as if I would do this in an EDR tool. However, if you think about it, with all this richness of data, all this context and everything you see here on screen, including the process information, the analytical profile of this process, everything I'm showing here, I didn't even leave the incident in my SIEM. So if you think about it, as you're looking at the overview, I showed here not just the, how the alerts are in the same place, not just the playbooks. I showed also the EDR, it's all in the same place. I've done things that are typically being done in 3-4 different systems. I've never left the incident. And this means that work in the SOC just becomes so much more efficient and effective. There are multiple other things you can do. For example, I mentioned if you want to see how the incident was created, how it was grouped together, you can actually go back and see everything. You can see the full history of the incident, everything that was done on it, how alerts were grouped together. You can go to the incident war room and run a bunch of commands as if you're working on a SOAR tool, full automation, everything in the same incident. You don't need to leave it. Everything is here. Of course, you can take a closer look at the alerts. You can take a look at the data behind the alerts. You can take a look at all the small things. Every bit and byte is available. You can drill down. You can investigate the events that led to the alerts being triggered and much more. Now, let's say we've done all the recommendations. We've completed the playbooks. We believe this case to be closed. We've done everything we wanted to do. We'll go to under investigation here, change the status. This is now resolved. I will go and assign a true positive. We are done. And I want to point something out. When you're resolving the incident, XIM will say, hey, do you want to improve automation by adding new playbook triggers? Basically, if you've handled this time and time again in the same exact way, do you maybe want to fully automate it next time? So you can actually go in and say, yes, this, and this. Next time, I want it to be fully automated. I don't want it to recommend, I want it to do for me. And when I mentioned earlier that with each passing day you're slightly more secure, you're slightly better just by 1%. This is an example. If you adopt automation as you go, if you improve your capabilities as you go, as part of your workflow, you are natively designed to improve your security posture. Before we wrap up the demo, I want to show you a couple more things. You can query the data using our query builder, which allows you to ask either very simple questions or using SQL, which is a very robust query language, which allows you to do joins and so many other different unique things. You can create your own custom playbooks and connect to anything you want using our full-blown source solution embedded within SIEM. You can configure your own correlation rules, load up IOCs, manage attack surface, or even use threat intel management to aggregate IOCs from multiple providers and leverage them across the system. You can manage your assets, whether they're internally or managed or up in the cloud. You can even use apps such as Jupyter Notebooks and Grafana if you choose to create your own custom machine learning or observability. And of course, you can manage your endpoints. I mentioned multiple times that the EDR, XDR portions are available in the solution, so you can install the agents, manage them from here. And all of this is being controlled by role-based access control and scope-based access control as well. So you can give limited access for different functions in the organizations to see and do only what they need to, but everyone is looking at the same thing, talking in the same language, working on the same data in the same place. I hope you enjoyed the demo. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the session.
So AI is an essential part of the SOC transformation, right? Gone are the days when you basically work on a rule-based engine and find out alerts based on the rules. So we used to live in a world where you want to find needle in the haystack, but now the world is moving toward finding a needle in the stack of the needles. And that's where the precision AI comes in the picture and XIM plays its role. When you have heterogeneous product, it is very difficult to orchestrate and then automate the response to a threat. But when you have a platform where all the products are already talking to each other, so you're spending very less time on orchestration part of it, which is a nightmare when you use different products. And once your orchestration is done well, your remediation timelines will go down and down by the day.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our fireside chat. So far, you've heard from our product leader, Lee Claridge, about the long history of innovations that has made Palo Alto Networks a leader in the industry. You've also seen a first-hand demonstration of the power of XIM, and now you'll hear from industry leaders on the state of security operations and the opportunity ahead for each of you. My name is Yvonne Lee, Product Marketing Manager for Cortex here at Palo Alto Networks, and today I'm joined by Kevin Kinn, Worldwide Vice President of Cortex Domain Consultants at Palo Alto Networks, Joseph Blankenship, Vice President of Research at Forrester, Matt Schreiner, Global Threat Management Partner at IBM, and Chris Collard, Program Director at IBM. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We're excited to have you here with us today. My first question is for Joseph. Joseph, is it okay if I call you JB?
Absolutely, please do.
Thanks. Given your extensive experience in SecOps and the SIEM industry, how do you see the state of security operations tools today? And do you have any insights into the ongoing challenges that organizations encounter when setting up and managing SIEM systems in their cybersecurity strategies?
Definitely. I think extensive experience basically means I've been doing this for a long time. I have the gray hair to prove it. And when I got into the SecOps space, kind of the state of the art was, the SIEM system. You looked at the SIEM system, and basically you were taking in a lot of, basically log data from all kinds of things. And sort of the, braggadocious part of the SIEM was we could take data from anything that can send us a log. We said, wow, that's fantastic. Then the problem we had with the kind of the legacy SIEM was actually getting intelligence out of that data. Recognizing what the data was, what the data was telling us, what the device type was, and by the way, at some point we might want to see if there's any threats coming in via that telemetry that we can detect and then respond to. The other thing that we kind of had with the traditional or legacy, SIEM system was we did this thing in security called swivel chairing, and we're really proud of our ability to swivel chair, because like we could have up our SIEM in front of us, we would have another console over here on this monitor, another console over there on that monitor, and you would constantly see the analyst switching back and forth and using two really crucial pieces of security technology the whole time: Excel and Notepad, because they were constantly copying and pasting from all of these things and trying to get all of those things to come together, because all the time the legacy SIEM couldn't put all the pieces of data together in a way that was useful for investigation and response. So kind of flash forward many years, right? Now we're starting to see kind of a blending of capabilities where we have the capability that the legacy SIEM can always kind of promised us, right? Ability to bring in all kinds of data, put it together so we can do things with it. We combine that with threat intelligence, kind of the ability of the threat intelligence platform. Then we said, hey, you know what, this swivel chairing thing, all these things analysts do, not really a great thing for just manual tasks, right? And taking a long time. Can we automate any of those things? We integrated things like SOAR and automated response actions and automated investigations and all these kinds of capabilities. Then we also kind of said, hey, instead of bringing in every single log out in the universe, let's really concentrate on the things that are really important to us, where we get really rich detections, things from like endpoints and firewalls and maybe network analysis and visibility tools, looking at network traffic, see what's really going on. So now we have rich signal, we have the data that's important to us, we're combining that with threat intelligence, and then we're automating on top of it. And hey, guess what? If we add just a little bit of intelligence to that in the flavor of artificial intelligence or machine learning, now can we start making some automated decisions? So not everything has to pop to an analyst for all this manual investigation activity. Now we're actually being able to intelligently look at that data, make a decision, and then automate a lot of the process.
Thanks, JB. And Chris, given your experience, what are some of the primary limitations encountered by organizations that rely on architecting all these tools that JB described independently?
Yeah, no, thanks, Yvonne. And definitely those pain points that JB mentioned resonate. And I've had conversations with a number of security leaders and SOC directors over the years about the importance of a unified approach to security analytics and operations. And I would say that the role of SIEM and SOAR in modern security architecture remains really as important as ever. And I think if you think about the alternative to that, the Excels, the Notepads, the go it alone approach, I can really see a few key downsides to that. One is, as JB mentioned, managing multiple tools, right? When you're managing multiple tools, it can create silos, and then you have fragmented visibility, gaps in security coverage. And it makes it really difficult, if not impossible in some cases, for security teams to get that comprehensive view of threats. I think the second point is about interoperability, right? Disparate tools mean that it is challenging to integrate that data, gain insights around that data effectively. It's about inefficiencies. And then are your teams overlapping their effort? Do you have misconfigured systems? Are you really transferring to managing a burdensome number of false positives? And then the final piece it's about tool management complexity. So the complexity of managing various tools, we've seen it again and again. It strains IT and security resources, and it takes from them key tasks that they should be doing, which is proactive threat hunting or strategic security planning. And I think these limitations, as I see them, as I talk with other directors and leaders in the security space, it's about the antidote and the solution to this is about maintaining a unified and streamlined security architecture, ultimately one that enables integrations, is coordinated and automated, and embeds intelligence across all security tools and processes.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to hear what you have to say about that, JB. What are some of the benefits that organizations can expect when migrating to a converged SecOps platform versus architecting them a la carte themselves?
I think, Chris, you touched on some of these things, but it's been an area that Forrester's followed for a while. We refer to it as security analytics platforms, this combination of capabilities that allows us to be more efficient in the SOC. So that you get the benefit of efficiency, making our people more effective. You also get the benefit of detecting threats and responding to them faster. Over the years, we've seen our mean time to detect a threat in the environments starting to shrink. Why? Because our tools are getting better and better. We're able to apply a lot more analytics, a lot more automation to these problems. So the faster we can detect the threat and then respond to the threat and isolate it, sort of the less impact that threat's going to have. We don't necessarily have these big, giant cybersecurity and data breach events if we're able to respond more quickly, and that's the ultimate benefit.
And Kevin, how does Palo Alto Networks ensure that customers who migrate to a SecOps platform actually have a strategic partner guiding them out throughout the entire process?
Yes. So we've already migrated a lot of our customers from some of the other tools to XIM already. And what we found is when we work with customers through the migration, it's an opportunity for them to really optimize their security operation and really transform how they do business and how they support their organizations. So providing them, as mentioned, visibility, better visibility across their environment, being able to tie and embed automation into that platform and really provide them much more efficient security operations of how they are able to protect themselves, reduce risk, and also respond to threats much more quickly. Because what we're finding is the attackers are moving a lot faster. So the impact of not really, the impact of the status quo today has a larger risk profile when we're dealing with this, how quickly these attackers move.
Absolutely. Matt, can you please provide some examples of organizations that have successfully transformed their security operations centers to a more robust security operations platform? And while you're at it, highlight some specific benefits that organizations observed as a result of this modernization approach.
Sure. So all three of the other speakers have already touched on many of the benefits, but I really liked what JB had to say. He used different words, but is almost identical to my experience, maybe because we both have white hair. We talk in terms from IBM Consulting in terms of a capability curve around SOC transformation. And we like to start kind of with a brief history lesson of SOC 1.0, which is like 15 years ago. And it's exactly what JB described. It was a big deal to get a SIEM on board, whatever you can. And then best of luck, let's find what we can find. And that was really amazing at the time. Today, that is totally unfit for purpose. Then there was another big leap forward kind of into the fusion center area where you fuse different tools and different cyber security competencies like endpoint, like SOAR tools and so forth. And that was a big leap. And you have a lot of benefits. You've got more visibility. There's still a big gap there, though, because these tools historically haven't always talked to each other. So you have different tools, different teams, different panes of glass, different lines of communication, different reporting, even if they're coming from the same vendor in some cases. So taking this ultimate leap forward into what we would call an integrated fusion center, first off, it's not just a technology issue. It becomes a people and process. And I would add also governance and metrics for a full-blown SOC transformation. But let's start with getting the technology fully integrated, which is one of the big benefits around the XIM platform, for example. We've talked about some of these benefits if you have a kind of pre-integrated platform, so to speak, rather than a la carte. So SIEM, SOAR, and endpoint, where rules are auto-generated, playbooks are generated on the fly based on what the endpoint or what the SIEM is seeing. That has a tremendous impact on the way, what we call the way of working in the SOC. So you can start to automate a lot and create what we call a rapid reaction team. And then you can up-level the skills, which, by the way, as a side note, that's one of the biggest challenges you have with any cybersecurity team is that loss of talent, that burnout. So if you can automate as much as possible the human drudgery, you have a new way of working, you have rapid reaction teams, you have much greater cyber talent retention. Anyways, on top of all of that, you have better incident response books, you have better governance and metrics. You're able to focus on, instead of that information overload, you can focus on the most strategic outcomes like business risk metrics. Is this investment ultimately reducing cyber risk as a result of your investments?
Thanks, Matt. Well, we've covered quite a lot over our time together. But before we leave, are there any last words that you'd like to share with our audience?
Sure. I guess just one or two final points. We've actually been at this for not only with our SOC practice for the better part of the last 15 years, but around the Palo Alto Cortex XIM suite for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, deep diving in terms of all the technical enablement, not just pre-sales and solutioning, but really how we implement, how we tune, and how we migrate. So this didn't just start with the press release, but actually going back almost 2 years ago now, as this product was under development and being launched. So we're now considered one of the most technically skilled consulting organizations around the platform, and we're also the preferred migration partner for the Cortex XIM suite from QRoC, QRadar to the XIM suite. And we're already doing this globally with a number of deployments. So my team, we represent the global consulting or delivery aspect of IBM cybersecurity services, and we have multiple large scale and some medium-sized scale engagements out there globally in just about every major continent.
Thanks, Matt. What about you, Chris?
No, I'll keep it short. Thanks for this opportunity. Definitely very excited about the partnership and look forward to continuing to support Palo Alto and all of our existing customers on this journey.
Thanks, Chris. JB, any last words for our audience?
Yeah, it's just been exciting for me as a Forrester analyst to see how this space has evolved just over the last 9 years since I've been here at Forrester. I think one of the most important things about integrating all of these tools together is now the vendor community is delivering the tool for the customer and integrating the parts as opposed to leaving it to the customer to do all the integration. And that's sort of been our heritage in security. We've had to integrate all of our tools ourselves as customers, and now you're seeing an integrated tool set come together where the customer doesn't have to do all of that work themselves. So it's really, I'm really happy to see that as an analyst.
Thanks, JB. And Kevin, finally, is there anything you would like to share with our customers today?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So first of all, we're really excited about the IBM Palo Alto Networks partnership. We're excited to have the opportunity to work with the QRadar customers and really assisting them with their journey around security operations and how they can transform and really better protect themselves from the advanced adversaries that we all see and we're all dealing with as defenders today.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for taking your time to share your insights with us today. For those of you watching who would like to learn more about XIM, make sure to visit our product tour through the link below, or set up a time to speak with a Palo Alto Networks representative today. Thank you.
We started making scripts to automate the reactions to certain incidents based on certain characteristics, and that alone cut our cases that required hands-on intervention over 50%. For us, the way to do that was single pane automation, consolidation of product stack. I think our partnership with Palo Alto has put us in a very strong position to defend against any current and future threat, and we're constantly engaged with Palo Alto in terms of what is the future going to bring and how do we defend against it.
All right, thank you all so much for spending this time with us. We really, really appreciate it. Hopefully, we've convinced you, as I was convinced, how important it is to go through a SOC transformation at this time. The security landscape is changing, and XIM is absolutely unique in its approach to solving this problem. Hopefully, we're able to show you just how incredible it would be for your SOC to be running on a single UI, eliminating all those different data silos, an analytics and AI-driven framework, leveraging a heavy dose of automation to achieve the median time to remediation like what we're seeing with all of our other customers. We'd love to have you on this journey with us. And if you'd like to see even more deep dive information, you can click that link, obviously reach out to anyone at Palo Alto Networks, and we are more than happy to engage with you and walk you through this process. Thank you all very, very much.
Well, thank you. Wow, what an incredible presentation. I told you all it was going to be like one of those incredible rides where you sit in place and the experts all come to you. And this was exactly what we got to do today, right? We got to sit and almost just pop into room after room after room filled with these amazing thought leaders taking us through one step at a time, all the possibilities. You know, I absolutely loved going along on this journey with all of you today. And I have to say, I'm seeing some comments come in. Interesting presentation, really well done. That was awesome. Great info, great information. conversation. I love that. I love all the shout outs. I totally agree. You know, I can feel when we're all kind of learning together, everybody, the energy just goes right through the roof. Everybody gets excited. The questions today have been absolutely spectacular. I do want to make a comment on that. We are going to make sure that all the questions that you ask get sent to the Palo Alto Networks team. So you will get responses back. So if you asked a question today, you're going to get some answers back. So stay tuned for that. Now, another great way to make sure that you keep the learning rolling immediately is to visit the handouts tab. If you haven't already done that, there's some great takeaways. You know, one of the things I love about all the takeaways today, they're all very visual. There's lots of like slide deck style, ebook style. So a really, really wonderful, fun and interactive way to read a little bit more, easy to share, easy to kind of bring forward to other folks in your organization if you want to keep the conversation going with them. So I want to point out a few of these handouts to you. AI-driven SOC transformation with Cortex XSIAM. So this is what we were just chatting about. 6 case studies and the journey toward more efficient and secure operations. So this is a great way to kind of see this in action, right? Those case studies are so helpful to kind of learn from as you go. XSIAM Buyer's Guide, how to transform your SOC for the AI era. I love these buyer's guides. I think, you know, the question that we get a lot is key uniques and what makes you stand out and how do we carry this argument forward to a decision maker in our organization? Well, that buyer's guide is going to help walk you through that. So make sure you've got that. There's an XSIAM infographic, which is this wonderful long, talk about visual graphics, right? It's this wonderful long infographic. So if you're a visual person, if you would like to see all of the things that we just heard laid out in one beautiful graphic, that feels like a cool cyber tech window screen that you're looking at, this is where it's at for you. So make sure you've got that infographic. And then certainly, last but not least, there are a couple other things that a solution brief that I think I definitely think is a great place to kind of explore and dig in a little bit further in terms of the revolution that we were just talking about. And especially, and I love this, making the unsolvable solvable in the SOC. So really, really cool. Worth that read, worth spending some time with. Make sure you've got that. All right. So lots of great takeaways, lots of great things to read, lots of wonderful follow-ups to the conversation that we just had. So make sure that you've got all of those downloaded. Hold on to those and don't go anywhere just yet, because I do have a prize giveaway for all of you. And I know that you are waiting for that. So stay tuned. I'm going to get to that. I see some cheering for each other, for yourselves in the chat there. That's great. All right. Today's winner of a $250 Amazon gift card is Vanessa Rodriguez from California. Vanessa Rodriguez from California. Congratulations to you, Vanessa. You have won a $250 Amazon gift card. Adam, I see you cheering for it out there. I'm hoping we can catch you next time. keep attending, Adam. We'll try to get you that gift card. But Vanessa is our winner today. Congratulations to you, Vanessa. And Adam's cheering for you as a fellow Californian. All right. Well, with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to once again thank Palo Alto Networks for making this webinar possible, and especially to all of our incredible speakers who have given us so much to think about today. I want to send a really big high five and very special thank you to all of you for joining in. As I said, the energy was very high today. There was a lot of information that we covered, and I truly felt at each step, at each sort of expert-filled room that we popped into, that each one of you was finding something and taking something away to mull over. I saw that coming in the questions. I saw that coming in the comments, and I absolutely love that. That is what we're here for, right? We're just getting the conversation rolling. We're opening up some doors, and then you are all going to take those interesting ideas and concepts and possibilities forward into your lives and see what you can do in your organization. So I hope you'll keep the conversation going with Palo Alto. Do make sure you've got those handouts, and if you do have any other questions that you haven't gotten into the questions board, get them in now, because again, we will make sure that you get responses back from Palo Alto Networks. So please do make sure that you are reaching out with any of those lingering questions. Well, I hope that I'll get to chat with all of you again soon. And until then, thank you so much for joining, and have an absolutely beautiful end to your day. Thanks all.